Hi, in this video, we're going to take a look at an example of working with raster maps using R and specifically ggplot. All right, so the image on the screen right now, is a map with population density, and I'm going to go through how to get this image using raster maps. Okay, so scroll up to the top. All right, so the data set that I'm using, the foundation of this example is from NASA. And here is the link for it. Now, this is population density across the world. Unfortunately, this is back for the year 2000. And if you read through the documentation on the website, it looks like the site hasn't been updated in some time. So, there's definitely some shortcomings, but conceptually, this will show some importance and some skills that we can use when we need to visualize geospatial data. All right, so here I'm going to load the data. All right, so I got this file from NASA, from their publicly facing website. I'm going to use the stars package, read stars, to pull in the data. Now, there are multiple versions of this file on the website. There is a smaller one that's like quick and easy to use. And then there is one that is very, very large and takes a long time to plot. So this is a really good example of when you're actually working on a real life project. If you can get a surrogate that is a smaller data set to fill in and that doesn't take as much time for you to compute and run through, it's a good idea to do that. I've done that professionally with Gen AI. And I've done that plenty of times when fitting a model, like if I'm using sklearn, something like I just use a subset of the data just so I can work through the project, understand what's going on, see how things probably will go, and then go to a larger full data set that takes longer to compute. And so here, this is the larger, fuller data set. All right, and so in this file, what will end up happening is that population density is labeled with the name of the file in it, which that's not a terrible thing. It makes sense to me. I think they did it programmatically with a bunch of different files, and so I'm cool with that. But in my data visualization, this really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If I show the stakeholders, I'm going to have problems. So I'm going to go ahead and use dplyR's rename function and to do this. Now, something that's really, really nice that we can use dplyr to handle the TIFF object that we have that, when we pull it into R. I mean, that's really, really nice. Now, something I want to point out about this is that, all right, so this is going to be, think of this as we've got the entire Earth, and every point on the Earth has a value from 0 to 255. Okay, so we've got two coordinates. We have our longitude, we have our latitude, we have our reference system here, and we've got the values. And you'll notice that the maximum value comes up quite a bit. All right, what's going on? In this particular data set, they made the choice to put down the maximum value as water for some reason. Okay. All right. All right. That's kind of interesting. Don't know why you did that, but okay. And so let's go ahead and visualize this. So I haven't changed anything. I haven't altered anything except for that one name. And so this is a decent plot. I've got good amount of information. I can see where there's greater concentrations of population throughout. So it's not too bad. Not here's our scale. All right. So what I want to do, okay, I'm going to scroll back up. What I want to do, I want to add some more things to this. I want to go and I want to make it so that I can see countries. I want to make sure I can see coastlines, islands a little bit better because these little like white dots, I mean, they're bodies, of islands. And then I'm losing some information. So I want to put down where are the coastlines, where are the islands, and I also want to put some of the most heavily populated cities, across the world on here. All right, now I'm not going to put down all of them because I would have plotting overlap, which I'll talk about in a moment. But this is, I want to kick it up a notch. I want to deliver more. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the object that I pulled in, I'm going to convert it over to an SF object, and that means I'm going to be able to use all the power of SF, and I'm going to be able to use ggplot's geom SF, which is what's really important to us here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to convert over and get the population density up, or convert that to numeric. So something that's funny about this data set is that the color, every single value from 0 to 255 is a factor underneath the hood. And so when I do the visualization with ggplot, it doesn't really make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to convert it over to numeric. Boom, I'm done. I could have done integer instead of numeric, but it doesn't really matter, for this purpose. All right, so let's go ahead and visualize the map. Now there's some things I did in here to make this go. And I think this is a good example of showing what you have to do sometimes to get, what you've got to where you want it to be. So I mentioned that 255 indicates water. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to figure out what is the maximum of the population. I could put 255, but I wanted to just, put that, to show I'm doing this in a more automated manner. And I'm going to filter out all the cases of 255 population density. Now, notice that that doesn't actually correspond to a real population density metric. It's just, I just know, I know the scaling, that if I see 5 and I see 10, I know that 10 has greater population density in this. The help documentation for the data source has more information about it, but for this purpose, I don't really care. All right, so I'm going to filter out all the cases that are blue in this image here. So now I'm going to have missing values for those locations when I do my ggplot, but that's okay. I've got a workaround for that too. All right, so something that was kind of funny, kind of weird about this was that there were like grid points and there was a mixture of color and fill to be able to get the colors to look right. So I'm going to put color and fill on the same scale, and that's going to work out nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the legend because I think it's pretty intuitive, and the 0 to 255 doesn't have a direct correspondence to actual population density. I mean, it does have a direct correspondence, but not in the interpretable manner. I would have to figure out the equation. All right, so that gives me like the lowest part of the plot is the population density. And I've got missing values wherever I've got water. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to start putting things on top of the plot so that they provide information. Okay, so I want to put down the countries around the world. And so I'm going to go to Our Natural Earth. I love this package. This is a beautiful package. This package is great if you're working on like a desktop machine, but if you're working, let's say SageMaker notebooks, let's say you're working in Databricks, and there's some restrictions on what what you can access external to the system, there can be problems with this. I've had trouble loading this package, even though it is my favorite package for data sources, for spatial data. And now, remember that whenever I do spatial visualizations, I really want a consistent coordinate reference system. Now, ggplot automatically goes with the first geom SF call to establish what is the common coordinate reference system. But me, I just want to be thorough. I want to be precise. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transform the coordinate reference system from our natural Earth to the one of the raster image. Now, they might actually be the same. I don't know. I'm just going to do it anyway because it doesn't take that long to do the computation. All right, and I'm not going to fill because I want transparency on this because I'm going to keep on stacking stuff up. So remember, the colors I want for the population density are at the bottom of the plot. If I don't have, if I go and I start stacking stuff on top, it's going to obscure some of that, which is okay if it's like the borderlines, but I don't want like the countries themselves. So when I put down France, I need to see through France to be able to see the population density of different locations within France. Okay. And so I looked through and I wasn't really satisfied with the coastlines off of this. There were a few islands, a few places that were just skipped off. And so I went ahead and did the same thing that I did with our natural earth, but now I'm pulling in the coastlines. And you'll notice that both times I'm doing large. We have small, medium, and large. If I want faster computations, I could have done small. Small would have been fine for this, but I wanted to show a more nuanced visualization in case you needed that when you were at work. Like if you had a smaller region that you need to show your stakeholders. Once again, I am transforming the coastlines to the coordinate reference system that I'm using in the raster image. Everything's transparent because these are technically polygons. And then I still wasn't satisfied. I looked at it and I could see that there were low population density islands like out in the Pacific Ocean and in and so I looked at this and I really wanted to improve it. So I went ahead and pulled in minor islands from our natural Earth. Notice once again, I'm going large, go big or go home. Now I didn't need the return class because the default is SF, but I kept it in there anyway. All right, so now this next part. This next part, the important thing that I did was that I put check overlap equals true. Think about all the cities in the world. You think about all the cities in the world, and I wanted to put down the name on the map of all those different cities. It's going to be too much. They're going to be overlapping with each other. And with that overlapping, it's going to kill the point of having the label. I don't want that. That's a bad idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say check overlap. How this is going to work is that ggplot under the hood is going to go first row of the data. It's going to plot it, plot the label that I give it. Then it's going to go to the second. It's going to check if there's overlap. If there's no overlap, it plots it. If there is overlap, it skips it. Go to the third line. Check if this would result in overlap. If there would be overlap, skip it. If there's no overlap, plot it, and keep on going all the way down. Now, something that's important about this is that ggplot goes top to bottom in terms of the rows of your data frame. So that means that when I'm doing something like this, if I want the most populated cities to be on the map, I need to make sure the most populated cities are at the top of my data frame. Okay, so I use the arrange function to sort the populated places from our natural Earth by the 2025 population. Now, I also went a step further and I filtered out cities that weren't the largest of the cities in terms of population. And the reason why I did this is because if I didn't, it would have just kept on going down the list of all, every row of the data frame until it got through the entire populated places data set. And I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some small cities, say like Topeka, that would have been on there. But on the scale that I'm talking about, I'm really not interested in the population density around Topeka. It's a nice area. I was, in that area when I was in the Army, but I don't want it for this purpose. All right. And, so, we'll just go through and, put down the label. I'm using geom SF text. So this handles the coordinate reference system for me automatically. I don't have to fuss with that. When I'm doing plots with SF, if I want text and labels, the SF version is better than geom text, geom label, or the ggRepel options. All right. Now, the next thing I did is that if you look at the plotting in ggplot, there's a little bit of a gap between the plotting area and the axes. And when you do that, it looks weird. And I've had problems with stakeholders at work about this, that there's a little bit of a gap. And in my map, it shows like they'll end up just being kind of a dead space in the map. And it doesn't look right because, well, end up happening is, if we look at the Western Hemisphere, we see Siberia sticking out, and then there's a gap. And then over on the other side, we look over to, the not quite as far eastern part of Russia, and it cuts off, and then there's that gap, and it looks weird, understandably so, and it doesn't look right. So I really, really want expand equals 0. I honestly think this should be the default. Anybody who works on the ggplot team, please take this consideration. I think I totally love ggplot and I have no criticisms, but this is a point of fine tuning, I think, that could be improved. All right, so let's go ahead and put down a color gradient and a fill gradient. So remember that on that raster aspect, I'm putting down this, the same color scheme to make it work. And I'm going to go from transparent white all the way up to solid red. Now, anytime I have a missing value, I'm going to put down light blue. That's how I handle water. By putting down light blue for missing values, since I got rid of all the water in the data set, I don't have to fuss with it. Beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, and I went ahead and put a panel background of light blue just to make sure that everything looks all nice and neat. And then boom, look at that. Okay, so with this, now I use the large data sets for the coastal regions and the countries. And so you can see that, I've got a lot of black where there's a lot of coastline. And maybe I would want to remove like the coastlines or maybe reduce the size of the file. But, that's definitely an option. And we can look through, and it doesn't show up as well as I'd like. Maybe I can zoom this in one more time. Yeah. There's red over here. That's, population density. We've got red over here. So, I've got the coastlines. I've got these minor islands that, if I wouldn't have gone through the extra step, would not be here. The farther west islands of Alaska would not have been in there. I've got the most populated cities on there, not all of the most populated cities, but many of the most populated ones. So with the filter that I had on, Chicago would have been on there, but notice that Chicago and New York would have overlapped with each other. And because of that, I didn't want Chicago. I would have wanted it if New York wasn't, overlapping with it. But so I went ahead and used the, check overlap. Didn't include Chicago. But all right, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope this has helped you. So I went through this video, showed you how you can load a TIFF, raster map object. You can plot it using the regular vanilla operations, convert the raster image to a ggplot SF or an SF object so you could use it with ggplot. Then we stacked on top of the image. We went through and improved by putting on countries, coastlines, minor islands, and the most populated countries. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has helped you. Remember, life is short. Do math.